Hello and welcome to the world-famous Driving You Crazy podcast. This is the show where we talk about all things transportation, anything that gets you from here to there. I'm the traffic anchor and transportation reporter for Denver 7 News, Jason Luber, and if you would like to be a part of the program, you sure can be. If you dial this number, 303-832-0217. I would also appreciate it if you would rate the show on your app of choice. All right. I've said it time and time again that distracted driving, especially from using a cell phone, is got to be, if not the most dangerous activity you can do while you're driving, maybe even more so than impaired driving. But how to stop it? That's the question. How do we get people to put down their phones for more than 30 seconds and be less distracted? You've seen them. You've seen them at the stoplights, and you've seen them while you're driving down the highway. Well, what if you could earn rewards for, let's say, free food, or get discounts on clothes or other discounts and free things? That's the idea behind an app called This App Saves Lives. And the founder, Ryan Frankel, joins me now to talk all about how it works and if it is saving drivers' lives. Ryan, thanks so much for being here on the world-famous Driving You Crazy podcast.
Jason, thanks so much for having me on the show today.
All right, so before we get into the app and how it works and the rewards drivers can earn, I want to talk about you and your story for a little bit. You call yourself a serial entrepreneur, founding all kinds of different businesses, selling some and going on to Shark Tank, right?
Yes. This is my third startup venture, and the first one I built was a company that was featured on Shark Tank. You're absolutely correct. It was a language translation business that would help travelers navigate the globe without fear of language barriers, and we used a global community of multilingual individuals who were available on demand. Think of like Uber for translation. And anytime you were traveling abroad, you could instantly connect with a live interpreter who would facilitate a three-way conversation all over the phone. And it's a business that I took on Shark Tank and was ultimately acquired by another translation company.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I always use either Google Translate and try to do it that way.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is pre-apps, and this is like 10 years ago. This
Sure.
is quite a long time ago.
Oh, that's neat stuff. I also understand that you're an avid cyclist. How do you deal with drivers that are on the roads with you at the same time? Because people are driving distracted, and I saw somebody yesterday on this really busy road. I was actually frightened for this man who was riding his bike on this very busy road. I stopped actually riding motorcycles because of all the distracted people and all the stories that I cover of distracted people turning left in front of motorcyclists and those people unfortunately dying. Why do you do it when the risk is at least to me, so great? I would never go bike riding on some of these roads anymore.
I'm very cautious about it as well, and my risk profile has changed over time. I'm now a dad of two young kids, and I'm not a spry 20-year-old anymore, and so I'm very cognizant of traffic safety, and always looking for opportunities to get off the road, away from traffic, because whether it's distracted drivers, drunk drivers, or even just the design of cities and suburbs in which we all live, where visibility is challenging. You have to be super careful. And the reason why I started this company was built out of my own unfortunate experiences where I was pretty badly injured by a distracted driver when I was out training for an Ironman. I was out on my bicycle, and that was the moment that, spawned to the business that we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, that was the spark. Talk me through that incident. You said you had a distracted driver that hit you while you're on your bike. Talk me through, you were riding on your bike, and then what happened next?
I was actually in New York, living in New York City at the time. I was actually scheduled to meet with the CEO of the company that ultimately bought my first business. And I was out for my fateful bike ride. It was about 5:30 in the morning. Training for an Ironman triathlon, and I was riding through the city, and unfortunately a distracted motorist ran a red light while texting. And Jason, I was very lucky. In fact, I was not hit directly by the car. I was able to avoid the direct collision, but I flipped over my handlebars, fractured my hip, my elbow, quite a number of other bones in my body. And so I survived. And during my months of recovery, I realized that my situation was not in isolation. In fact, unfortunately, in the U.S. alone, distracted driving causes about 2 million accidents every single year.
And so was that the spark? Was it during that time? Was it after that incident, shortly after that incident, or years down the road that sparked in you going, I have to do something about people who are distracted?
It's always been, I've always been an individual who likes to build businesses that solve major problems. It was not a company I started the next day. It's something that was marinating in the back of my mind for some time. And I spent quite a bit of time looking at the landscape. And what you found were various physical dongles that you could plug into your car that would, prevent your ability to make a call or send a text message. And the reality is nobody likes to be told what not to do. People like to do their own thing. And so, we kind of took the view of, which is really grounded in behavioral psychology, which is that if you want to create lasting behavioral change, it's really all about rewards and not punishments. And that's kind of the grounding concept behind this app saves lives.
It's almost like you're incentivizing some kind of behavior, because when you penalize a behavior, you know how kids are. If you say don't touch the hot burner on the stove, they're going to want to touch the hot burner on the stove, right?
That's exactly right. And the reality is, the chances of you, and the sad, honest truth here, if we're just being honest with each other, is that the chances of you being caught by a police officer for driving distracted is so small, that so many, if that was the only way to prevent it was just punishments, everyone would do it.
Yep.
The reality is if you can replace a dangerous behavior with a more rewarding and addictive one, all of a sudden you've just stumbled upon something very powerful that has the potential to create lasting change and save tens of thousands of lives along the way.
Yeah. My guest is Ryan Frankel. He's the founder of the app called This App Saves Lives. You can find it right now on the App Store for the iPhone. We'll talk about where you can get it and where you can't get it. When someone downloads the app, what do they first see?
It's a registration free. It's a free app first and foremost. You download the app and you can effectively set it up once and then forget it if you'd like. You never have to remember to open up the app each time you get behind the wheel and drive. It automatically will run for you in the background each time you start moving above 10 miles an hour. You earn 1 point for every minute that you drive undistracted. Hands-free calls, using your navigation like Waze, Google, and Apple Maps, as well as streaming your favorite music or podcasts are fine. But the second that you go to meaningfully interact with your phone, to send a text message, to browse the web, to scroll through Facebook, and so on and so forth, not only do we stop issuing you points, we actually take a few points away. So it is a carrot, not the stick approach, but we do wave a little bit of a stick in there to disincentivize distracted driving.
Why is it not for Android and only for the iPhones right now?
iPhone was the hardest one to crack. Apple makes it very difficult to build a product designed for this specific nature. And so we wanted to first and foremost start out on iPhone, and we will be launching on Android soon, very shortly.
Okay, good. I've been testing the app, and I'll talk about some of my experiences here in a little bit. But let's talk more about specifically, how does it always... I know that it's always on because it's always tracking, because it says that it needs the permission to always be on even when I'm not using the app. Do I have to keep my phone unlocked? How does it know when I'm moving at a certain speed?
You don't know. You don't have to keep your phone unlocked. We use GPS to know you're actually moving, so you're not going to earn points for walking to the end of your driveway and picking up your newspaper. But as long as you're moving above 10 miles an hour, which is, generally speaking, as someone in a car, sometimes in a bicycle, or an extremely fast runner, you will earn those points for driving undistracted.
Well, actually, Ryan, it's funny. I was out on a walk the other day. Maybe I was walking fast enough because I can't really run with my bad knees. But I was walking fast enough where it actually said, "Hey, you earned this many points on your walk today." And no, it didn't say on my walk, but because I was going through the neighborhood.
That's incredible. That's incredible. You must have been moving quite quick.
It was the altitude, you see.
There you go. There you go.
And talk about this. You talked a little bit about the points. So when I'm earning points, how are the ways I'm earning points? Is it just via time? Is it that I'm not touching it? How am I earning these points?
It's simply based on time spent driving undistracted. And so, if you earn 1 point for every minute undistracted, you go for a 30-minute round trip ride, you earn 30 points. After every ride, we will send you a push notification that'll say, hey, Jason, congratulations. You just earned 30 points. Visit the rewards portal to redeem those points. Many individuals in our nationwide community of drivers will redeem them right away for a free meal at Shake Shack or, discount on their Reebok apparel. Others, like yourself, as we mentioned before the show, like to bank those points and accumulate them for some of our bigger ticket prizes.
Yeah, I do have 3,223 points as of right now. That's a lot of points. But I'm also, and then I have this. It said it gave me different like levels of the app. So in the middle, it says now I'm a diamond level. I'm not sure where else I can go because I remember I was like a bronze and a silver and gold. Now I'm at diamond. So is this like my 50th year anniversary? I mean,
sky's the limit for you, Jason. We've built in some really nice gamification on top of the points, and so there's the opportunity not only to earn points and earn direct rewards, but also compete against your friends, your family, your colleagues to see who the safest driver is.
Now, I do tend to use, because this is my work phone, I do need to use it to get video of different places for my Driving You Crazy stories. And so there are times where I'll be driving. I'll have to use it basically as a dash cam. And so I'll set it in my holder there, and I'll hit the record or the stop button as I'm doing it. And I think that's what's dinging me, because now I'm at 92% distracted rate. My percentage of time driving undistracted is at 92%. So am I getting dinged by that or just about anything I'm doing with the phone?
You are being dinged for using video while driving, but I will tell you 92% is phenomenal relative to the average distracted driving rates of our community. And what's really interesting here is that, we've been able to prove that folks that use Tassel actually are safer drivers. And that's big for us because we can look at a group of individuals that come in day one and look at their percentage of time driven distracted versus undistracted, and then kind of follow that general audience of users over time. And what we've been able to show is that people using Tassel become safer drivers.
And when we're talking Tassel, you're using the cool acronym. It's This App Saves Lives, and you can find it right now on the iPhone app. How many points can I just keep saving up and earning? Is it unlimited? Do you have people that have had 5 or 10 or 15,000 points?
Oh yeah, we've got folks that are banking points that are in the 50 to 100,000 point range. What's really neat though is what we'll see a lot of times is, so part of it is Jason, you can earn direct rewards. But you can also donate your points to our Charity of the Month partners. So every single month, we will poll our audience of drivers and say, hey, who should be our big Charity of the Month partner? Whether it's Back on My Feet, No Kid Hungry, and a whole host of other charitable organizations with whom we work. And drivers, Tassel drivers, This App Saves Lives drivers can donate their points in exchange for funded donations. And so what we see is a lot of people will bank those points and then make a massive donation of points for their Charity of the Month.
Oh, that's really interesting. Maybe I'll start doing that after I get my free bamboo toothbrush.
There you go.
I know we have a lot of listeners throughout the country. Where in the country can I use it? Is it just in the cities? Can I use it in the rural areas? Could truckers use it and they just get points for driving for 10 straight hours?
Anyone can use it. It's technically, we are global. We have drivers in every single country, although not by design. We are spread predominantly throughout the United States. You don't have to live in a city. You can redeem those perks as long as we have a brick and mortar brand partner in your market. But we also have tons of e-commerce companies that will literally drop, ship, mail you any product that we have direct to your doorstep if you live in a place where we don't have a physical store offering a perk or incentive.
And we'll talk about some of those more specifically here in just a second. What I was interested in is how does it figure the percentage of time that I'm driving undistracted, because I wish it would tell me that, hey, you were using that video feature on your phone and that's why you got dinged a couple of percentage points, or you were doing this action or this action with your phone, or does it even know that I'm picking it up and flipping the silent switch from on to off? Does it know those things? And I wish it would tell me what I'm doing wrong, so I can correct those behaviors in the future.
What we can do is, high level tell you, you are interacting with your phone, you are kind of meaningfully taking your eyes off the road. Unfortunately, we are at the mercy of Apple and Google for Android, where, we're not able to say for privacy reasons that, Jason has been using, his Facebook feed or his video feed, obviously for protecting their customers' data. We can't tap into that. We are a very privacy centric company. So we instead have to take on a high level view, which is that, carve out certain activities that are acceptable and then bucket everything else into one other category.
My guest is Ryan Frankel. He's the founder of the app called This App Saves Lives. You can download it right now for your iPhone. Hopefully, as you said, we'll have it for the Android phones, hopefully very soon. Will I ever lose points for using my phone? Could it take points away? Could I go into a negative balance like I'm on Jeopardy?
You can never go negative. You'll never go into a negative balance. But yes, if you are driving for, let's say, 100 minutes, and if you would normally earn 1 point for every minute, so 100 points if you drive undistracted, but you engage in a distracted driving related activity, Jason, you might only earn 80 points. You might only earn 90 points, depending upon how many of those distractions you take place in.
And is it based on when I've used the phone? So let's say I've been driving for a half an hour and I have another half an hour to go, but this is the time that I used my phone for something. So is it going to ding me from that point and I only get the 30 points? Is that kind of how it's registering the point usage?
No, it takes an aggregate. At the end of your trip, your points are tallied.
Okay, good. How does the app know that I'm in stop and go traffic or stopped for a long traffic light, that it doesn't think that, hey, this trip is over, that I'm just stopped for a minute, maybe I'm dropping off a passenger, maybe I'm an Uber driver, something like that. So how does it know that the ride is officially over?
We've built in a cushion of time, understanding that certain parts of the country you might sit in a traffic light for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Other parts it's far shorter, or to use your example, you're an Uber driver and you're dropping someone off. And so there is a little bit of a cushion in there. So what you will notice is that you don't get that notification congratulating you on your points allocation for that ride until a certain period of time after which you've stopped, just to allow for the fact that some people might pick up the ride right away. You might have just been in a 3-minute traffic light as opposed to parked your car and headed to your office.
If I'm riding one of those electric scooters and I have the app in my pocket, I'm going to be going, 15, 20 miles an hour. So am I getting points for riding in a little scooter?
You are, as you would if you were riding a bicycle. And, if you're like me and you're out cycling, you'd be surprised how many cyclists are looking down at their phone while flying down the road. And so we are trying to disincentivize distracted driving, as you will, and we can use the word driving very loosely.
Interesting. The main incentive to leave the phone down is that we are building up these points, and we're starting to earn these rewards. Talk about the different tiers of levels of rewards that we can earn and that we can start collecting different benefits for it.
Yes, you can earn direct rewards from our retail partners. We've got about 150 brands that we work with right now. Companies like Shake Shack, Reebok, Urban Outfitters, Insomnia Cookies, Target, Amazon, and a whole host of other brands. And so we've really kind of polled our audience of drivers and said, what brands really excite you? And then we go to those brands and we say, hey, become a brand partner of This App Saves Lives. Share a perk, share an incentive with our audience of drivers, get them excited about driving safely. And by the way, in doing so, they're going to come visit your storefront. They're going to visit your brand and transact with you, because today's drivers, today's consumers, we really do demand that the companies we support stand for something bigger than themselves. And so here's a real opportunity for these brands to come in and make a real difference in the world.
As I'm looking through this, so you can get some things for relatively very low points. Like for 100 points, I can get 10% off my purchase at Poppy Flowers. And then you have higher point levels, like I can use 300 points and I get 15% off of Clover and Clear. And then I can go all the way up to bigger things, like I can get a month of free subscription at Shock Training for 450 points. So there are some pretty interesting 50% off a fresh patch for my doggy for 500. I mean, there's some really interesting things here. Is that challenging to try to get these partners on board and get them to give you stuff to put on the app?
Depends on the brand. Some of the larger companies that we're all familiar with look for a very incredibly large audience of drivers, millions of drivers, and they're not going to really bat their eye unless you've got a huge audience. Others are just excited about any traffic that you bring them. Ultimately, the goal, though, is really to marry or match the needs and the demands of drivers with the brands themselves. And so, about 40% of our audience of drivers are young students, high school and college age drivers who unfortunately represent a disproportionate percentage of fatalities from distracted driving. So, offering up various perks and incentives from, brands that resonate with a younger demographic is very important to us. Similarly, someone who is a 55-year-old working professional, probably doesn't care as much about a free burger at Shake Shack than they do a month-long gym membership. So it's really about matching the two.
Yeah, it's $1,500 or 1,500 points rather for the free bamboo toothbrush. And so once I get that, I think I'll donate the rest of my points to all, and I'll just keep giving them away. Are there other ways to earn points besides just spending time in the car with the app on?
Sharing. We love our drivers who share, and so as long as you're sharing the product, you actually get points for sharing. This app saves lives with friends, family, and colleagues.
And there are people, as you said, that are just saving all their points. What have they told you or indicated what they want to do with all those points?
It's interesting. A lot of people actually will bank those points and then donate them to our charity partners, as I mentioned. So we see a lot of donations there as well. Others love to enter our raffles. We have raffles for Amazon gift cards, Target gift cards, Starbucks, and a whole host of other bigger name brands. And so it really runs the gamut, Jason.
You were talking about students and how they can be, and I've talked about it a couple of weeks ago with some people that are really trying to get kids from not driving distracted. There's really nothing to stop a parent from adding on to or giving more incentives of their own. So let's say I have my daughter who would be driving and I have them have her on the app. And then I would check it and say, look, if you reach this tier, if you keep your distractions at 95% or higher to 100%, or if you gain this many points, I as a parent could then say, hey, now you get these different incentives as a family.
You nailed it, Jason. We actually have two products. One is this free Tassel app, this App Saves Lives app we're talking about. We have another product we call our Parent Portal. You can learn more about it at thisappsaveslives.com/parents. And it's a product designed specifically for parents of young drivers. And what parents can do is sign up, connect their child's free Tassel app account to their own web-based dashboard. And then mom and dad can go in and not only monitor how their son or their daughter is driving, but also create customized rewards, whether it's a later curfew, extra allowance money, concert tickets, the key things that they know will best motivate their child to drive safely. That portal is designed specifically for this reason, to protect an at-risk demographic.
That's a really smart idea. How many parents are using this for their kids? Has it been pretty robust?
It's just getting off the ground. We've got thousands of parents right now using it. It's one of those products that is perfectly aligned with our mission of saving lives because, as I mentioned earlier, young drivers, teenage drivers, young college-age drivers are the most prolific distracted drivers. They are the most likely, unfortunately, to be involved in a fatality from distracted driving. And so it's a product that we're really excited about.
You have a way also for student drivers at their school to spread the word by becoming a student ambassador. How does that work?
Students who are involved in the campus activities on a high school or college level can reach out to us. We provide them with materials, collateral, rewards for sharing. Ultimately, the goal is, and what's really exciting about seeing this grow on the college level is young individuals, they care very much about their communities. They care very much about protecting today's youth. And so we're seeing a burgeoning interest in bringing this app saves lives to various college campuses.
And high schools as well, as I would think high school kids would be almost more at risk, since at a college campus, a lot of kids are walking around and using their little scooters.
Definitely. High schools are big, but even on the college level, there's certainly plenty of commuter colleges as well.
Overall, how has reaction been from users, from the distracted driving advocacy community? How has that been going so far since you launched this app?
Phenomenally well. There's a lot of interest in what we're doing. The scary thing is that COVID has made us all more addicted to our technology than ever. There's been all sorts of studies that show it, and people are, I think, pretty tired of driving their own cars and flying down the highway at 65, 70 miles an hour and looking out of their side window and seeing someone heads down on their phone, driving their cars. And so I think there's this overall frustration with just how prolific this problem has become.
What I see, Ryan, more often than anything else, is I'm speaking to Ryan Frankel, who's the founder of This App Saves Lives. You can download it for your iPhone at This App Saves Lives. Is people who are stopped at a light and then grab their phone and then start scrolling through whatever they're going to scroll through, or send a message or do whatever. That's where I see it more often than not. That, or they try to do it also in stop and go traffic, which is almost more dangerous than just driving at highway speeds because everything's flowing fairly well. It almost seems like that's less risky than at stop and go traffic, because at any moment somebody could stop right in front of you.
That's exactly right. It is everywhere, and the use cases are all over the place.
Do you have any metrics to show that the app has been working? Have there been any serious crashes or crashes by users of the app while they're using it?
We don't look at it on a per user basis, but what we can do is look at a cohort of users, a cohort of our drivers, and follow them over time. And the average person comes in, quite scarily, at 65% of the time driven undistracted.
Oh, wow.
So 35% of the time they are driving distracted. And then over
and they
6
know
months,
the app is on the phone, right?
they know the app is on the phone,
And
but then they get excited about earning rewards, and they get excited about becoming a safe driver and earning great badges and gamification. And so what happens is 6 months down the line, you can look at those same folks and they're driving 80% of the time, 85% of the time undistracted, or in your case, Jason, 92% of the time undistracted.
And that's only because I'm using the phone as I'm driving and getting this video. That's really all I'm using it for. Otherwise, but then again, I'm also hyper aware about these sort of things.
Sure.
Yeah, but have you seen that? Is that a trend that you see more often than not, that somebody might start to see and figure out, oh wow, I really am distracted, and I can't believe that these numbers are so low, and then start to correct their behavior, put it down, and then bring those numbers up?
Definitely.
So that's more often than somebody then using it all the time and seeing those numbers go down.
We see a general uptick across our global audience of drivers in terms of actual improvements, for sure.
Are there people who use the app and then they get frustrated that their numbers are going down and they're not doing well because they are so addicted to their phone, and then they go back to their old life and just start to use their phone again and uninstall the app?
We would know if they uninstalled the app, but we do talk to drivers every single day, and we do find that for the most part, people are staying with the product. They love it. They like the idea of earning rewards. There's very little downside, which is why it's a product that's working, because it is rewards based and not punishment based. If it was punishment based, everyone would just delete the app and say, forget this. But if instead you flip it on its head and say, hey, you're going to earn great rewards for being a safer driver, that is a product that is working.
Are there drivers with sub 20% undistracted driving undistracted?
Unfortunately, there are a few bad actors out there. You probably see them when you commute to work every day.
I can't. It just stuns me. that there that you can use the phone while you know the app is running and you're at like a 20%, and that I just can't figure that out. One way I did think I got around the app tracking me though is I just turn off the location tracker and the cell data from the general section right there on the app or on the iPhone. And so if it can't track me via GPS and I don't use the cellular data, then it doesn't know where I am and it doesn't track my driving.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you don't have GPS located or location services enabled, we can't reward you. There's no way for us to know you're using the product. There's no way for us to know you're moving. But to be clear, we don't track individual users. It's just a simple metric that we use to determine someone is driving a vehicle. We don't know, Jason, that you've just driven down XYZ street and past this XYZ brand. But you're absolutely right. If you disable it, you're never going to earn points. You're not going to lose points. You're going to be null and void.
Yeah, because I talk about that because it was recently, a month or two ago, I was for spring break, I was on a cruise. And so I just turn off everything on the phone because I don't want to use the data because you're on the cruise ship and you don't want to use it because it costs a fortune, right? If you connect to the sea thing. And so I was wondering if I kept the GPS on though, because I don't think GPS I don't think it connects to anything. Could the app have noticed that I'm going 13 knots in the ocean and then been rewarding me points for just being on a cruise ship?
You would have to be 13 knots. You would not be earning points. But if you were engaging with your phone for any reasons, you're taking pictures, for example, of your friends or your family.
Oh yeah, see,
you would lose points.
I would have been losing points the whole time. Well, what if I'm on a public transportation? Let's say I'm on a bus or a train. Am I earning points that way?
If you're engaging with your phone, no, you're not earning points. You're losing points. But again, you don't ever go negative. You wouldn't benefit from trying to game the system in that way.
But if let's say I was working on my laptop and I had the phone in my pocket, so I'm not using the phone, but I'm still on a bus or a train, then I probably would be getting points for not even driving.
You could be earning points, and the way we view that is, if that's the 1% use case, it's still worth our business being around, because 99% of the time we're making the roads safer. That's a net positive for us all.
It's really interesting. It's an interesting. So are you still working on getting new partners to come on board? Is that where the app is going? Where do you go next with the app?
We've increasingly been focused on the business landscape. Companies with fleets of drivers, whether it's your Ubers and your Grubhubs and your Lyfts of the world, your trucking and your transportation, your Amazon and the UPSs of the world, as well as with automotive insurance companies who benefit quite substantially when their customers drive more safely. And so that's kind of the next evolution for our business.
But with those delivery drivers or the Uber drivers, you're delivering people, I guess, they are using their phone. It might be used mostly for just GPS or music, at least the Ubers and the Lyfts and that sort of thing that I've been on. They're definitely using it for music and using it for GPS. Now you say you don't ding for that, but they're obviously using their phone a lot, and they're still distracted because they're doing this the whole time with while they're trying to take you from place to place.
Yeah, so our general app for consumers, it would still apply to those businesses where you can still use your GPS without being unfairly penalized. And then to the extent that we sign on a big partner like a Grubhub or a Lyft or any other big business, we have to do special carve outs and special exceptions to try to make sure that they're still able to live their livelihood and run their own efforts as a driver for Lyft, as an example, and not be unfairly penalized. So it's kind of a different product, if you will. But if you think about the footprint and just how large some of these companies are and just how many drivers they have on the road, it's a massive opportunity to make the road safer.
Right. Any message for, we're right here in the heart of Distracted Driving Month. Any special message to try to convince people to use the app or even just stop driving distracted?
We always like to say we each have the opportunity to be a superhero each time we get behind the wheel and drive. And it's the littlest things, the things that you don't think would matter. In a split second, you could kill someone. So think about whether if the rewards don't motivate you, if earning great badges and gamification doesn't motivate you, well, being a role model should. And we just hope that everyone thinks really carefully about the actions that they take behind the wheel, because everyone thinks it couldn't be you, but it always is someone. So make the road safer for us all and help us save lives along the way.
What's the next badge that I'm going to get after Diamond?
Like I said, Jason, sky's the limit.
Oh.
I can't tell you. You gotta earn it first.
I
You gotta earn it first. Keep going.
Am I going to platinum? Am I going to I don't know, kryptonite? I mean, is there kryptonite? Your rate? I don't know. Is there crazy things that are out there that I'm going to be getting?
There are crazy ones, and
cool.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Maybe one day I'll be able to like unlock the Force, and it'll be like Star Wars mode.
You might. I don't want to give it away.
Okay, Ryan. Any new businesses, Ryan, or is this going to be it for you for a while?
This is my passion. We're saving lives. It's the first company I've ever started where there's a real social impact component to it, and we're very excited about what we're doing.
That's excellent. Ryan Frankel, thank you so much. This app saves lives, available, as you said, on the iPhone, not yet for Android, but very soon, right? Very soon?
Yes, very soon.
Okay, very soon. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I appreciate all your time.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you having me.
Again, I have a link to the app and the download. It's only for iPhone, as he said, for now, but Android's coming soon. And you can easily click to download it onto your iPhone and see what it's all about. You can also look on the computer. It's TASL, or This App Saves Lives. You can just do a search for it. He called it Tassel, TASL, and you can find all the information also from your desktop. I'm tempted, and I said, I instead of donating that 1,500 credits, I'm going to get that free bamboo toothbrush. I mean, look, there's also, I could get the honey, the free sample pack of Busy's honey vitamin sample pack. That sounds pretty good. But that's like 7,500 points, and I'm only halfway there. So otherwise, I'm going to be getting 20% off of socks, or a free ski hat, or some Screen Daddy screen cleaners. They do have a couple of raffles where you can use your 100 points, and then you're entered to win a $25 gift card to like Nike or to Instacart. But I'm still thinking I want that bamboo toothbrush. I mean, that sounds pretty nice. A bamboo toothbrush. It's only going to be about half of my stack of points, and then I could still maybe enter the raffle a couple of times. I could just donate the rest of my points to those guys. I guess we'll see. Anyway, why don't you give the app a try? Let me know how you like it, if it works for you. And it's easy to earn points. And I'm sure there are people who do get on a train or a bus and stick their phone in their pocket and then earn a bunch of points that way. But then you would want to use your phone if you're on the train or the bus, right? If you're not on a laptop. So I guess it would be counterproductive to do that. Anyway, thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. And until next time, I'm Jason Luber, the traffic guy. Be safe, and as always, happy motoring.